This evening, Alliance for Change National Conference, Khemraj Ramjattan retains leadership of the AFC party. Ghana Police Force launched an investigation into the shooting death of Quindon Bacchus by an undercover cop amid a sting operation. Bartender remanded for the murder of Carol Davidson. In the region, U.S. rolls out migration plan on final day of America's summit, and internationally, India. Muslim properties demolished over anti-Islamophobic protests. Greetings and welcome to another edition of Channel 2 Headline News Updates. I am Baby Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. On Saturday, the Alliance for Change held their 7th national conference, which saw Khemraj Ramjattan retaining the position of leader of the party. Former Vice Chairperson Cathy Hughes was elected chairman and Ricky Ramsrup was elected the new vice chairman. Shara Duncan now holds the position of General Secretary. According to a press statement from the party, the process and agenda were endorsed by the full complement of more than 200 delegates and observers who attended. They represented groups from across the 10 regions of Guyana, the Youth for Change, the Women for Change, and AFC groups in the diaspora, including the USA, Canada, the UK, and the Caribbean. A 12-member National Executive Committee was also elected, the second highest decision-making forum of the party. The press release further stated that the National Conference very importantly examined the way forward for the party and voted overwhelmingly in favor of staying in a political alliance with APNU until the expiration of the Comminsburg Accord in December 2022, when it will be reviewed. In addition, the conference demanded in the meantime that AFC secures a firm agreement and structure for it to have a greater influence on policy positions and political factions within the alliance while maintaining its independence, rebranding, and regaining its identity. The new executive body will shortly meet to co-opt additional members to the second highest decision-making forum of the party. The Ghana Police Force is investigating the circumstances surrounding an undercover cop shooting a civilian during a sting operation. More from Esther Sobers.
The police complaint authorities will commence investigation today into the killing of Quindon Bacchus. The 23-year-old man was fatally shot by a police officer in Haslington, East Coast, Narara on Friday, June 10th. According to a police report, around 2:30 p.m. on Friday, police officers went to Haslington New Scheme, East Coast, Narara, where they saw Bacchus with a firearm. The ranks were at the time carrying out an intelligence-led operation into the area based on information received earlier in the day from a 22-year-old construction worker. The plainclothes rank, armed, made arrangement with Bacchus to acquire the pistol, which he departed and later returned with. In the process of handing over the firearm to the rank, alarm was raised. As a result, the now deceased man ran into the southern direction and discharged around to the rank in the direction. The rank drew his service pistol and returned fire, hitting Bacchus. Meanwhile, while identifying the body of Bacchus, family members stated they spotted what seemed to be a gunshot wound to his skull as well. Since then, they have taken to the streets to demand justice as they await a post-mortem examination. For Channel 2 Headline News, Esther Sobers.
Thanks, Esther. A man from Isla Penitence was apprehended on the west coast of the Demerara after he was busted by law enforcement officers with cannabis in his possession. Dale Jarvis explains.
A 28-year-old man from Isla Penitence, Georgetown, was arrested at an unfinished house in the Namsel West Coast, Demerara, after he was caught with over 1,400 grams of suspected marijuana on Sunday, June 12th. Police rank, acting on information received, went to the Namstel, where contact was made with the 28-year-old, who was found standing next to a table on which had several leaves, seeds, and stems suspected to be cannabis, along with a bulky black haversack. One of the ranks, a corporal, identified himself to the suspect as a policeman dressed in plain clothes in the presence of the other ranks and told the suspect of his suspicion. A search of the black haversack revealed 2 transparent plastic bags containing several leaves, seeds, and stems suspected to be cannabis. The suspect was cautioned, arrested, escorted to the Lenora police station. The suspected cannabis was weighed in his presence and amounted to over 1,400 grams. The suspect is in police custody pending charges. Reporting for Headline News Update, Dale Jarvis.
Thanks, Dale. Stick around after the break. Minor busted with cannabis on the west bank of Demerara, and bartender remanded for the murder of Carol Davidson. But before that, here's the bridge retraction schedule.
At John Lewis Styles, we carry only first quality, men's and women's clothing, footwear, and accessories. As authorized dealers, our items come directly from the manufacturing brands, and are available in all sizes and colors. What we sell was never on display in another store. It's time you know the truth about what you buy. Come visit us on Waterloo Street. John Lewis Styles. Simply different.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
They say that when it hits you, it hits you. A feeling so strong that it's impossible not to give in to a juicy piece of KFC. To feel elevated by the aroma and to free fall into its exciting flavor. Some call it love, attraction, desire. We call it KFC. Ignite your senses with KFC.
Sooner or later you will have another power failure. Are you prepared for the next blackout? Some essential equipment such as security cameras, lights, internet, gate motors, and water pumps may stop working. How can you prevent the next blackout? InverterTech has an affordable solution for you. A strong UPS system which uses the latest inverter and solar battery technology to prevent blackout. We smartly calculate your average power demand so you don't spend more than you need to. Call 223-2233 for more information.
Welcome back. One of the individuals detained in connection with Carol Davidson's fatal stabbing at the East Ruimveldt squatting area a week ago appeared in court to face murder accusations. Esther Sobers has more.
Shemika Gibson, the woman who allegedly stabbed and killed Carol Davidson, a mother of two in an attack carried out with 3 other persons, was charged with murder and has been remanded to prison. Gibson, a 20-year-old bartender of North East Penitent squatting area, was arraigned before Magistrate Faith Magusti at the Georgetown Magistrate Court, where the charge was read to her. Gibson was not required to plead to the indictable charge and was remanded to prison. Davidson was fatally stabbed at East Penitent squatting area in the vicinity of Brigham School Bridge on June 5th due to an old misunderstanding. Reports are that around 10 a.m. Carol was imbibing alcohol with a group of friends in a yard in the vicinity of Brigham Secondary School Bridge when the suspects, 3 females aged 20, 28 and 29, and a 28-year-old male, all of North East Penitent squatting area, entered the yard and attacked Davidson with several pieces of wood. A scuffle ensued and Carol was dealt several lashes about her body by the suspects. In an attempt to flee the assault, Davidson ran around the house, but the suspects pursued her. According to the police, one of the suspects was seen with a knife in her right hand while they ran out of the yard, making good their escape. Davidson died before receiving medical attention at the hospital. For Channel 2 Headline News, Esther Sobers.
Thanks, Esther. During an intelligence-led operation on the west bank of Demerara, members of the Ghana Police Force seized several hundred grams of narcotics. Dale Jarvis has more details.
A 28-year-old man from Isla Penitence, Georgetown, was arrested at an unfinished house in the Namsel West Coast, Demerara, after he was caught with over 1,400 grams of suspected marijuana on Sunday, June 12th. Police rank, acting on information received, went to the Namstel, where contact was made with the 28-year-old, who was found standing next to a table on which had several leaves, seeds, and stems suspected to be cannabis, along with a bulky black haversack. One of the ranks, a corporal, identified himself to the suspect as a policeman dressed in plain clothes in the presence of the other ranks and told the suspect of his suspicion. A search of the black haversack revealed 2 transparent plastic bags containing several leaves, seeds and stems suspected to be cannabis. The suspect was cautioned, arrested, escorted to the Lenora police station. The suspected cannabis was weighed in his presence and amounted to over 1,400 grams. The suspect is in police custody pending charges. Reporting for Headline News Update, Dale Jervis.
Thanks, Dale. The Guyana Police Force held an outreach program on the Essequibo Coast. Esther Sobers has more details.
Police youth group formed in Region 2 as Guyana Police Force held an outreach program at Underdaman on the Essequibo Coast on Saturday, June 11, 2022. Deputy Commissioner of Operation Acting Ruimveldt Budram, accompanied by Divisional Commander Superintendent Shiv Prasad Bacchus and ranks of Region 2, responded to a community call for social crime prevention intervention as the Guyana Police Force continues to forge ahead with its social crime prevention initiatives. During this program, Budram engaged residents, key stakeholders from the government and non-governmental organizations, youth and business community members. Mr. Budram deliberated on the force stance on community-based policing, emphasizing social crime prevention intervention. He noted that youths play a pivotal role in society and are equally important to development of an economy. With this in mind, the Guyana Police Force continue to effortlessly protect the youth from crime and criminal elements that may want to present themselves as an opportunity to create juvenile delinquents. A number of activities were outlined as part of a calendar of activities for the new group. For Channel 2 Headline News, Esther Sobers.
Thanks, Esther. Don't go away after the break. India, Muslim properties demolished over anti-Islamophobic protests, and China vows to crush any attempt to pursue Taiwan's independence.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Ruimveldt or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Mourant, Riverton and Camp Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
Sooner or later you will have another power failure. Are you prepared for the next blackout? Some essential equipment such as security cameras, lights, internet, gate motors, and water pumps may stop working. How can you prevent the next blackout? InverterTech has an affordable solution for you. A strong UPS system which uses the latest inverter and solar battery technology to prevent blackout. We smartly calculate your average power demand so you don't spend more than you need to. Call 223-2233 for more information.
When you need money and you gotta get it fast, Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop is the place for that confidential transaction in a quiet and secure location. You'll get the highest value per pennyweight for your gold and also enjoy the lowest interest rates and longest payback period too. Yes, for that instant transaction to solve a pressing financial problem. That Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, 46 Boyle Place, that's between the Ministry of Housing on Brickdam and White Castle Fish Shop, be your first and only choice. Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, safe and sound, solid and secure, always there for you. Telephone 231-7878 and 223-8955.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at news in the region and around the world. 20 countries at the Summit of the Americas have announced what they are calling the Los Angeles Declaration on Migration. It creates incentives for nations in the Western Hemisphere to take in more migrants, but with some of the regional leaders uninvited or boycotting the event, it is not clear how effective those measures will be. Al Jazeera's Rob Reynolds reports.
Across the Western Hemisphere, millions are on the move, fleeing poverty, crime, repression, and climate change. This was the focus of the final day of the Summit of the Americas.
With this declaration, we're transforming our approach to managing migration in the Americas. Each of us is signing up to commitments that recognizes the challenges we all share.
The Los Angeles Declaration on Migration includes burden sharing, with countries in Central and South America agreeing to streamline the path for migrants to resettle. The U.S. is putting up more than $300 million to finance the effort. Countries have agreed to absorb higher numbers of refugees and temporary workers. For example, Mexico will integrate 20,000 refugees into its workforce. The U.S. will resettle 20,000 refugees next year, a small number given the enormity of the problem. Migration is a humanitarian crisis and a political problem for President Joe Biden. But it's not only the U.S. that is grappling with the surging human tide.
En Colombia hemos recibido 1.8 millones de migrantes.
In Colombia, we have received 1.8 million Venezuelan migrants, brothers and sisters that have fled the worst oppression, and we have received them without being a rich country.
The U.S. pledged to improve its efficiency and fairness in processing people arriving at its borders, and will lead a law enforcement effort targeting human trafficking gangs.
If you prey on desperate and vulnerable migrants for profit, we are coming for you. We are coming after you.
No one expects these measures to stop migration. The reasons are many, the causes are deep, and the pressures are strong.
Mon pays est actuellement soumis à une insécurité.
My country currently is subject to great insecurity. There are armed groups that are stealing, raping, killing, and kidnapping. Be it Haitians or foreign citizens, by these criminal activities, they have prevented free circulation of people and goods in the country.
The declaration is unlikely to satisfy everyone. Despite the smiles and the handshakes, relations in the Americas are acrimonious. But it is a step forward, and given the controversies, disagreements, and no-shows that have marked this summit, it is perhaps more than many may have hoped for. Rob Reynolds, Al Jazeera, Los Angeles.
Internationally, Chinese Defense Minister has warned that Beijing will crush any moves towards independence for Taiwan. Al Jazeera's Jessica Washington reports.
At a security summit in Singapore, the most highly anticipated speaker of the three-day conference took the stage with forceful words.
We do not bully others, but we will not allow ourselves to be bullied. But if anyone dares to attack us, the People's Liberation Army will not hesitate to fight back.
A short speech that covered a range of regional flashpoints.
We will resolutely crush any attempt to pursue Taiwan independence. If anyone dares to secede Taiwan from China, we will not hesitate to fight. We will fight at all costs.
Analysts say Wei Fenghe has made Beijing's priorities clear.
He wanted to talk to his audience about what they're doing in Asia, what they expect over Taiwan, and why the United States is actually responsible, in China's eyes, for the instability in this region.
In his speech, Wei framed Washington as a meddling power, one that tries to create instability in the Asia-Pacific, or in his words, one that tries to hijack countries in the region to create division. In contrast, Wei says China's military is a force for peace. Australia's new Defence Minister has told Al Jazeera there are many questions that need answers.
We are seeing a very significant build-up by China. It's the biggest military build-up that we've seen in the world since the end of the Second World War. And it's really important that that occur in a transparent way.
The Pacific has also been a topic of discussion at the summit, and following increased engagement from Beijing, Richard Marles says Australia is revitalising its relations with those countries.
If we go out into the Pacific Island countries, do the work, place their interests at the centre of our engagement, then the rest takes care of itself. We will become the natural partner of choice.
We are thankful for this opportunity.
Fiji's Defence Minister, one of the few representatives from the Pacific, fielded questions about his region's ties to Beijing.
Meeting with the Chinese, of course, everybody knows that we met the Americans, we met the Japanese, we met the Chinese, We met the Australians, you name it.
As organisers wrap up this year's summit, uncertainty over the region's future remains. Intended to provide diplomatic avenues to help solve differences, it's also provided delegates the chance to air their grievances for the world to see. Jessica Washington, Al Jazeera, Singapore.
And finally, more properties linked to Muslim protests have been demolished in the Indian state of Uttar Pradesh. The destruction follows days of rallies against two former officials from the BJP for making remarks against Prophet Muhammad that many consider offensive. Al Jazeera's Victoria Gatibay reports.
A bulldozer demolishes the home of a Muslim politician and activist. Authorities in the state of Uttar Pradesh say Mohammed Javid didn't have planning permission.
2 people involved in the violent protests have been identified, and it was found they had illegal constructions and bulldozers were brought in. We will also charge them under the National Security Act.
Javid's family say he wasn't at the protests and accuse the governing BJP of trying to intimidate them.
We've been paying our house tax for around 20 years, and not once have we received any intimation by any development authorities of Allahabad that our house is illegal, or why were they even taking our taxes if it was an illegal house indeed.
Properties linked to Muslim protesters were also demolished on Saturday. The demolitions followed days of protests against 2 former BJP officials who made remarks against the Prophet Muhammad that many consider offensive. Protesters want one of them, Nupur Sharma, arrested for hate speech. The party's head of media in New Delhi, Naveen Kumar Jindal, is also accused of making insulting remarks. Some protests turned violent on Friday, but legal experts say authorities cannot use that as a justification for destroying people's homes.
You cannot demolish a man's house for protesting. You cannot link it to the protests. These are 2 different things altogether. So it is, in my view, an abuse of power.
The BJP says it strongly denounces insults against any religion, sect or ideology. But protesters don't believe that statement and say these demolitions speak louder than words. Victoria Gatenby, Al Jazeera.
And that is it for today's regional and international news. Here now is your 3-day weather forecast. That is it for this edition of Channel 2 Headline News Updates. Tune in on Tuesday at 7 p.m. for another episode. Be sure to subscribe, like and follow us on Facebook and YouTube. Until then, please take care of yourselves and each other.